Hello and welcome to the Confidence Academy podcast. My name is Lily Badcock and I am a transformational confidence coach and founder of the Confidence Academy Members Club, helping men and women just like you to build unshakable confidence and self-belief. Each week, I will be bringing you new episodes with advice and guidance to help you rebuild lost confidence, manage anxiety, and finally start living the life you were born to live. It is my aim to reach as many people as possible with the message that no matter what you're going through, no matter what your struggle may be, there is hope. And there is a way to create an amazing life for yourself. The incredible people I have been blessed to interview on the show are walking, talking examples of how this is possible. And I truly hope you will find their stories uplifting, inspiring, and motivational. The conversations are very open and candid and occasionally may include some adult language, so please take care when listening around little ones or grab some headphones. This podcast series is brought to you in association with Lily Badcock Confidence Coaching and the Confidence Academy Members Club. If you are ready to make the shift from anxious and frustrated to calm and confident, then visit www.lilybadcock.com today and get started with the free resources that are waiting there for you. I need you to know that you're not alone, that it can and will get easier, and that the transformation you seek is possible. You are more powerful than you know, and I'm here to teach you everything I know about harnessing that power and creating an amazing life on your terms. Before we dive in, don't forget to leave a review for us on iTunes and to check out the links in the podcast notes to the free resources we have available for you. But for now, let's get you on your way to living your epic life, free of anxiety and full of confidence. After all, confidence is yours as soon as you choose it. Hello, welcome to the Confidence Academy podcast. It's Lily Badcock here, and I know I say every time that I'm really excited to have my guest on, but I literally could pee with excitement. I don't even know if I can say that, but I just did. I've got the amazing Katrina Ruth with me today. Katrina, I don't even know what to say. I'm just so excited you're here. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And like I was just saying before we went live, thank you for following me up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So for those of you listening who may not know who Katrina Ruth is, in fact, you must know who she is because I talk about this lady all the time on the podcast. Anything I've ever quoted from my favorite coach and mentor, this is her, you guys. So if you don't know who she is, you need to know. So I will be putting some links in the show notes so that you can follow up after this if you would like to find out more about who Kat is and what she does. But the reason I wanted to get Kat on here is because she is an absolute I can't say badass and sound like it's badass. It doesn't sound good in an English accent, but she literally is the biggest badass ever. And I wanted to get her on because this whole podcast is about thriving in spite of anxiety. It's about recognizing that we have these weaknesses inside of us, and it's recognizing that sometimes things don't go the way that you plan and you can't always picture the way your journey is going to go, but it doesn't mean you can't create an absolutely awesome and epic life. And I say this in every podcast, but you know, Katrina is the absolute epitome of someone who has done that. And so I needed to get her on this show because you guys need to hear the message that she is going to bring. And as with all of the interviews, there's never structure. It goes where it goes, and I have no doubt this is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So, Kat, as I said, thank you so much for joining us here today. And I wanted just to kick off by asking you just to explain to everybody who you are, what you do, and why you're so passionate about the message that you share, which is, by the way, life is now, press play. So Kat says this at the end of every live stream and at the end of every blog post, and you really believe in living the here and now. And I'd love to hear why you're so passionate about that message.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, thank you for that amazing intro. Okay, so I'm Kat or Katrina. Well, my brand name is the Katrina Ruth Show, but you can call me Kat or Katrina or the Katrina Ruth show, if you like, if you ever see me in person, it can be slightly odd. So what I do is I'm an author and I'm a content creator online, and I work with the kind of like the crazy entrepreneurs and creators and performers and artists out there who, yes, want to make millions and impact millions and change the world with their purpose work, but they're specifically that person who was just never born to fit in the box, even in the normal entrepreneur box. So we're different from the other entrepreneurs, we're different from the other creators. We are that 1% within the 1% person who is just like always gonna self-identify as being a crazy one or a weird one. And we have a lot of things, we as a community have a lot of things that I guess we probably thought were not really right or okay along the journey, like being super chaotic, being super messy, feeling disorganized, often prone towards anxiety and stuff that kind of goes hand in hand with that. And what I do in my business is I work with these amazing badasses to empower them to get their true message out into the world. But not only that, to create the business and the life that they've always dreamt of and that they know is inside of them. So my message, just to extend on what you said, Lily, is yes, life is now, press play now. Meaning that whatever you feel inside of you is real and it is available for you. You wouldn't see it inside of you if it weren't available. And I'm here to help you to kind of reach into your own soul and reconnect to what's always been there, get into massive alignment with the life you're meant to be living and the business that you know you're here to create. And then I'm here to also kick your ass to do the work. So I kind of talk about alignment and ass-kickery. And the way that I do that with my clients is just a range of different things online. So I have a ton of free content. I have a daily free blog. I have almost every day free live stream. I have podcasts, so much other free content, and then lots of different online courses ranging from super low cost right into the super high level private client mentoring.
Awesome. And as I said, I'm going to put some links in the show notes to those resources as well for anyone that wants to check you out. So the question I want to ask next is, the people that listen to this podcast are from all walks of life. They're all kinds of people. The thing that binds them is they have this issue around confidence and anxiety. And I know for a lot of them, they listen to these episodes and they hear the inspiring stories, and the thing that comes up again and again for them is this idea of, well, it's lovely that person could do it, but I can't. What do you want to say to those people that are right there right now, that are, they are the crazy ones? And anyone who knows me listening to, because I know a lot of my friends listen to this, they will laugh when they heard you say that, because nobody here thinks that I'm normal. I'm literally like, and nobody that I hang out with really is either, if I'm honest.
So hope not.
No. And so the people listening, I know there will be people listening who maybe never felt like they fitted in, who maybe always felt like they were getting it wrong, and that, they had to do it a certain way and then beat themselves up because they weren't doing it that way. What do you want to say to those people who are listening right now?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a question that comes up all the time for me, and I sometimes get a bit frustrated with this because I feel like I can't quite get through to people that like people who know me and I guess follow me online see me as like this online badass, right? And I'm very out there. I'm very kind of in your face and confrontational with my message, and I come across as being very confident and very extroverted. But like a lot of natural performers, I can step into that role and totally own it. But who I am naturally is a massive introvert, and I've always struggled with confidence issues, self-worth stuff in a huge way, and with pretty serious anxiety as well from a relatively young age. So, when I was growing up, I was like the super shy, uncool kid, always picked last for sports. I did have friends. I wasn't like no friends person, but I never felt good enough. I never fit in. I didn't have the right clothes. I didn't have the right hairstyle. I didn't even have like the right food. My mom would send us with this super weird, super healthy food that nobody else was eating. And it was like everything about me was uncool or wrong is how I felt. And I felt really unattractive, and I just struggled with self-worth and confidence stuff always. I could never speak to boys, and then I felt like I would never get a boyfriend. Nobody would want to be with me. Like I used to literally hide in the bushes in school growing up. That's how I would spend my play breaks. I would be in the bushes with a book and my journal, right? So now though, like obviously I've evolved along the way into this badass confident person with a very successful online business and a large following. And I know that there's a barrier there where a lot of people who follow me feel like, yeah, but that's Kat, she's this and she's that. And I guess the thing that I want to say is, you're so not alone when you feel like, I couldn't possibly put myself out there and I wouldn't know what to say and I wouldn't know what to do and what are people going to think, and maybe they're going to laugh at me, or maybe they're going to think, who does she think she is? All of these things that are things that I thought continually along the way. But what is hard to get across, and where I feel sometimes a little frustrated, is I still feel all of that stuff too. And I feel like people often, like, if you follow my content, you'll believe me on it, because you can't make it up. It's feelings you can feel when it's real, right? But when I sort of say it, people are like, like, okay, you're an introvert, okay. But if you ever hung out with me in person, you'd be like, holy shit. And even today I was on the phone with somebody who's really close to my life, and he was talking about certain people he knows who, he's like, I think they're like totally confident and they've got it together. And I'm like, come on, no, like, you know me really well. You know what people think about me, and you know the truth about me. So I can guarantee that those successful artists over there also have their shit going on, right? And he was like, yeah, no, you're right. So anyone who gets to know me sees that layer. And it's kind of the most common thing that I hear from people who I become friends with, who I first knew online, or from clients once I get to know them, which is, wow, you're like, often they'll say, you're so much nicer than I thought. I'm like, okay. But they'll say you're so much quieter than I thought, or wow, you're like, a lot of guys will say things like, oh, you're just like a normal woman, I thought you were super confident. And they always seem to be slightly ripped off by the idea, like, I thought you were a superhero. And so I guess what I'm trying to say here is, like, how I've done it and how I teach my clients to do it is I have this saying that I've had for some time now: don't let your bullshit be bigger than your dreams. And for this particular example, it means you do have to choose to be bigger than those fears and uncertainties and doubts, right? But it helps to know that other people feel that way, and that, like, pretty much any super successful performer, artist, entrepreneur, creator out there who you see has so much insecurity and self-worth stuff going on. And I know this for a fact because I work with very high level people from a range of different fields, and I also have some incredibly high level friends from the arts and from like acting and that sort of thing. It's just how it is. It's a reality, right? So for those of us who step up though and put ourselves out there, it is about taking that performer inside of you, or that creator, or that entrepreneur, or that person, who wants to do something amazing in the world, and just allowing that inner self to, have its say and to kind of be in charge. The fear and the uncertainty, anxiety, all that sort of stuff, that's still going to be there. We know this, it doesn't ever go away. But I think that we get better at rolling with it and dancing with it and kind of seeing it for what it is. Like, I had a very extreme anxiety day only Monday last week. So like 8 days ago, it was so full on. It was so difficult for me to function and cope, but I still did, because I know my triggers and I know what works for me to get me through. But part of the way that I actually, managed that day was I just spoke about it with my clients, and I kind of turned it into my content for my business for the day, to talk about it and to let it out. So yeah, we get better at understanding what's going on, and we get better at rolling with it. But it does have to start with realizing that you're not alone. It's not your fault. Like, it's part of the human condition, but you can't allow it to rule you.
Yeah. And you said so much there that I just love that. I could go back and we could probably live stream for 6 hours on everything you just said then. We won't, don't worry. But I think the main thing is that it's that expectation of having to get rid of the anxiety completely. And for me, when I realized that wasn't the goal actually, and I get to have an amazing life even if I'm anxious, that for me was one of the biggest light bulbs that just switched on, because the goal had seemed too far out of reach up until that point. And I kept beating myself up saying, I have to get rid of this anxiety. It's like I don't get to be happy until I completely figure this out. And, the biggest lesson there is you don't have to have it all figured out, but you do have to choose, and it is a choice. And, I've said it so many times on this podcast, and it's all because I've listened to Kat's stuff for years now. And I wouldn't even say it's been ingrained in me. It reawoke what I already knew to be true. And that's what my hope is of getting you on this podcast, that the people who know will hear you speak and they'll be like, oh my God, yeah, that's what it is. And I've said it a million times, everybody listening has this amazing gift to share with the world. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. The sad thing is, everybody can, but not everybody will. There are going to be people that listen to this message who unfortunately will convince themselves that it's not for them, that they don't get to thrive, that they don't get to step in. And that, it breaks my heart, but I've realized that that's not my job or your job or anyone's job to convince those people. I think, you know, it's stepping up in your own life and leading by example, and having faith that the more people that see you do that, the more people will start to feel like they can do it too. And that's certainly what's happened for me. You know, watching your content and following you, I see me in you, in that, you know, I see everything because you put it all through your blogs. You're so open, and you're so transparent with everything you're going through. And you've made me feel like if you can do it, then so can I. And not only that, some of your content's been so unbelievably life-changing for me. And, you know, you've managed to do that even with anxiety and even with everything you've been through in your life. And I feel like now I get to do that for others. And to people listening, it doesn't matter what shit you're going through. You get to change somebody's life if you just, like Kat said, let your belief in yourself be bigger than your bullshit. Like, don't let your fear run the show. You know, check it out and go, okay, well, it's there, but it's still a choice. Do I let this fear run the show, or do I think, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway? Which is kind of where I got to, you know? So it's such a powerful message, and we've only got a short amount of time here. But like I said, I'm going to link to the podcast notes for anyone who wants to check Kat out. You can read Kat's daily blogs. They come out on email. And it's just, you know, if you don't believe what you heard here today, that this amazing woman that's achieved so much still has days where she struggles, then I just say get on the mailing list, because you'll see for yourself. Like you said, you know, you can't make that shit up.
The ups and downs. I think that's what we're all here to do. Like, you just hit the nail on the head. You know, I've impacted you, which is amazing to hear and to know. And now you're sharing what's inside of you. And I think that's what we're all here to do. Even those who don't identify as entrepreneurs, we're all here to impact others. And the best way to do that is to be fully who we are, and to give ourselves permission to be all of who we are, right? Like, not just the so-called good or polished, but I always say, like, the good, the bad, the crazy, the random, the messy, the ugly, like all of it. If you just be who you are each day in whatever state you are for that day, then you allow people to connect to the real you, but also you empower others and you give them permission to be who they are.
Absolutely. And, you know, I've said this before as well, but, you know, there isn't one person on this planet who doesn't struggle. There isn't one person on this planet who doesn't have fear. And one of my favorite things to remind myself of, and I say it to others as well, is to say, you know, think of the person in your life so far who's had the biggest influence on you, whoever that may be, whether it's your mum, your dad, someone on TV in a film or whatever. And just imagine if that person had allowed their fear to shut them down.
Totally.
Like, you know, what if Oprah had allowed her background to dictate what was going to happen in the future? What if Marie Forleo had never decided to start B School? You know, what if Kat had never stepped up and started, you know, her business as well? You know, your life would be so different if the person that influenced you hadn't been able to just go, okay, well, I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyway. And so whoever you are listening, I don't care who you are, I don't care where you're from, know that by the fact you're even here on this planet is an absolute freaking miracle. And, you know, you didn't get here by accident, and you didn't come here for nothing. And you have a choice even now. You can listen to this podcast and go, meh, it's nice for you, it's not for me. Cool, that's your choice, but you need to own that. And when you're there, you know, 10 years from now, wondering why you still feel unfulfilled, it's because you made a choice in that moment to let fear run the show. And it sounds harsh. And I sometimes listen back to my content or my podcast on days where I'm not feeling as like vibed up as I am today. And I think, oh, shut up. Like, how annoying. Like, you know, when did you get to be so happy? And, you know, you don't know anything. You don't know shit. And I literally yell at myself. But I'm, you know, that's why I do this, because on days where I feel good and where I'm lucky enough to have somebody on the podcast who's so amazing, I get to tap into that belief, and that truly is what I believe, and that truly is what I know. My baby's getting tangled up in my earphones. Awesome. So I know I have to let you go. I just wanted to let you know that, well, I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, from a personal perspective, but on behalf of like mankind everywhere, for being the sort of person who, you know, goes through whatever it is you go through and just decides to show up regardless, and to be this amazing light that you are in your community and online, and to everyone who comes across your stuff, just a heartfelt thank you. To anyone who follows this podcast, you'll know that my background is in singing. And part of my big story is that I lost my voice at the time that I got diagnosed with anxiety as well. And although I got my voice back, my confidence took a knock for a very, very long time. And I think it was only last year, or it might have been a bit earlier this year, Kat, I can't remember why, but you came across something on my SoundCloud, and Kat was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like this is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, this is who you are. I'm sure you know. And it reminded me of who I am, what I do, and the fact that, you know, who cares if my voice cracks or breaks sometimes, and who cares if it's been through the journey it's been through. You are the reason for everything that is coming. You're the reason for that. And I know I'm the reason too, because I decided to listen and I decided to step up. But you let me believe that I could do it again. And I'm going to stop so I don't cry. But thank you for that.
Oh, you're amazing. You're so welcome.
So I just really look forward to the day that I get to the Gold Coast where I can thank you in person. But for now, I just want to say a heartfelt thank you once again for being on this podcast. To everybody listening, if you want to, like, not even if you want to check out Kat, just do it. Check her out. Follow the links in the podcast notes. And if you have any questions, I believe you may already be in the Confidence Academy Facebook group. So you can tag Kat in that group, or you can tag me with any questions or anything at all, and I will pass that message along. But in the meantime, it just remains for me to say, Kat, thank you so much. This has just been so amazing. And thank you for all you do. Thank you for being here. And I'm sending you loads and loads of love.
Sending it right back. Thank you so much, Lily. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. And to everybody listening, tune in again for another episode. As I said, these are going to be coming out daily now. Something has kicked off inside of me, and I now have so many interviews that they're going to be coming out daily. So make sure you're checking in. Make sure that you are recognizing that your life is now. It's not a dress rehearsal. And as Kat would say, your life is now, press play. And as I would say, confidence is yours as soon as you choose it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll be back soon. Lots of love. And that's us done for another episode. I hope you are now feeling uplifted, inspired and motivated, and ready to start making those positive changes starting today. If you loved this episode and would like to connect with me or any of my amazing guests, then get on over to the Facebook group and join the conversation there. And for additional support and accountability, why not become a member of the Confidence Academy Members Club? You will find all of the relevant links in the show notes beneath this episode. In the meantime, I'll be back again soon with another new episode and more amazing guest experts. But until then, look after yourself, dream big and live bigger. And remember, confidence is yours as soon as you choose it.